Hey lovelies, I am very excited to dive into a little luxury beauty moment with all of you today. I am going to be breaking into my very first Victoria Beckham Beauty order. This is a brand that has been on my to try, like my top 5 to try in, I think it was 2020 and 2021, or 2021 and for 2022, meaning this year, and I finally did it. So what finally tipped me over into purchasing from this brand is the fact that there was the combination of the Black Friday sale, the brand was doing 20% off, and also Victoria had just launched some new shades in some products that I've been wanting to try. And I was like, all right, now is the time. So we're gonna dive into those today. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. We're gonna get right into this. I'm gonna show you what I got. We of course will be trying everything on the face today. And I'll probably also do a few comparisons, especially the lip products, because right away I was like, oh, I think I might have some dupes. I think I might have just bought something that I basically already have, but we'll have to see that. So let's get into this right now. All right, I wanted to zoom you in so that you could see up close and personal what's going on the face. We're gonna get into this, and I do just wanna say, first of all, I'm sorry, I've been very bad about listing in the description box the other products that I'm wearing in videos, especially if I'm just doing like a chatty video. I've been very bad about it. People recently have been asking me about the foundations that I've been wearing and everything, so that will all be listed down below. Of course, I'll have the products that I'm using today listed, but in case you're curious, I'm gonna really try to be better about that. I did go ahead and throw on a foundation and a bronzer. I went ahead and held off on the blush just so that we can see what the look is like, you know, with lipstick and everything. I just wanna mostly keep it on the products that are in here. I did really like that they do include a little duster bag, and I have to say, I think that this brand already, just off of the aesthetic of the packaging, it's about the beauty in simplicity, like classic, gorgeous, stellar, high quality packaging. I mean, you can see here just from the boxes, it's really just very classic, that like creamy color with black, and I just like that, just crisp, clean. That's definitely my vibe. So the packaging all feels very nice and weighty. I mean, the one that especially got me were these lipsticks. These of course are the Posh lipsticks, and I'm sure you've all seen them, but it's almost like a mix of, it sort of mimics like tortoiseshell, I would say, or almost like cat's eye, but not like quite as shimmery. And I did go ahead and get 2 shades, because why just buy one when you can buy 2? Why just do a $38 purchase of something that you've never tried before when you can do 2 $38 purchases? So that is, of course, how much the Posh lipsticks are. I had to get the new shade Alter Ego. This is the one that I have right here. I'm just gonna show you these. We're gonna do lip swatches, of course, but this is this almost like red meets raspberry. At least that's what it looks like in the tube. I will say it looked very, very like a brighter crimson pink on the model that I saw on the website, or maybe it was on the Victoria Beckham Instagram. Anyway, in the footage, it was like, ooh, wow, this looks to be a little bit, almost like a little bit more red. We'll see, but I wanted to get that one, but I also wanted to try something that could really be almost like an everyday wear, because these seem like they're gonna be like a nice, like balmy lipstick. So I also got the shade Spark. I'm actually really happy. It was so hard to pick things out online, honestly. I really felt like it was a bit more difficult for me. I don't know if it was the arm swatches or lip swatches, but something was throwing me off, and I just kind of like went with my gut. So Spark is a beautiful shade that I think will be a very like natural, wearable, everyday shade, whereas obviously like Alter Ego is definitely for that like statement lip. And I wanted to also get something that was a little more subtle, because I really think that I got a statement eye product. This of course is the Lid Luster. These are beloved by a lot of people, and I've never tried one, and I really wanted to try one. And of course, when Victoria brought out the shade Velvet, you had to know. You had to know this would be the one that I would try. This is this beautiful, like, I would say it's like an olivey green meets almost like old gold. Like it just has that little hint of almost like a goldy tone to it. So I'm really excited to try this out. And I thought, well, especially for this video, to be able to have something. Now, I'm actually not against a green and pink vibe. I do like green eye looks with pink lipstick. I'm just not sure if it's gonna go quite so well, so I wanted to pick up a neutral. I'm just giving myself excuses as to why I can buy more makeup at this point, let's be honest. And I did also get one of these satin Kajal liners. I got the shade Copper. Is anyone surprised? Probably not. So I'm hoping that we can sort of get a cohesive look out of these products. I really was tempted to get a couple other products. I tell you what, the one that I was really tempted to get was the bronzer brick, because the packaging on that it just looks so beautiful. And looking at the package on the rest of these, like, again, they all have that, you know, sort of like mimics tortoise shell. So gorgeous. And I've heard nothing but good things about those bronzer bricks, but I don't really need any bronzer. I don't really need any of this, but I was trying to rein it in. So I guess the fate of that bronzer brick purchase is, you know, really going to be decided by these products and how much I like them. And also, I really need to work hard to get through some of the bronzer that I have. At any rate, let's go ahead and dive in. I'm trying to decide, what do we want to do? Okay, let's go ahead and start with the eyes. Let's just go ahead and start with the eyes, and then from there we can try out both of the lipsticks. So I am going to be very, very simple in today's eye look. I'll give you a little swatch here. Now, I have a feeling that you can totally use your fingers for this, but if you have seen my channel before, you will know that I'm just not really team fingers. Now, hopefully you can see here, this really is that combination of like an olive and an old gold. I will say, even just looking on the Victoria Beckham website, when they have the eye swatches of the colors, I personally felt like the two new shades, Velvet and Starlight, looked fairly similar. Starlight is a little bit more of like a gold, whereas this obviously has that like antique-y, olive-y tone to it. I'm really excited to try this one. I think depending on what you pair this with, especially if you're gonna use other shadows, you could really like lean into the green of this or almost go towards that like more gold neutral vibe. So let's go ahead and try it out. Fingers crossed this doesn't have a ton of fallout because obviously I already have my makeup on. Maybe I'll end up using this little, I have my little Katie Jane Hughes towel here to like block the fallout. So I'm just gonna go through, I've got a Refer 21 brush here. So this honestly reminds me of that like L'Oreal potted shadow thing. What the heck were those called? The infallible shadows or something, where it's like soft pressed. It's not super loose, but it's also not, it's not like a squishy shadow either, you know? It's not like a ColourPop like spongy moment. And hopefully you know what I mean. Those L'Oreal shadows haven't been around for a while. I really love those actually, but it's sort of more of that texture. So I'm just gonna go in on a dry brush with this and we're gonna pop it on. I don't have any primer on my lids. I did just pop a little bit of my foundation on my lids and then a little bit of pressed powder. So I'm just very gently going to like press this on. Now, one thing that I could tell even just from doing the swatch on my hand is this has like a base color and then it has like the fine micro like glitters or micro shimmers in it. So I would think if you take a fluffy brush at the edges, you're going to buff away some of that glitter and be left with the darkness of that base. So, you know, this really could be a very easy one and done shadow. All right, I just zoomed you in a little bit more. You weren't quite as close as you could be. So this is just with laying that color down on the lid with that Refer 21 brush. You can see it has a really nice, you know, reflectivity to it. It is more of that like sparkle over a smoky base rather than like super metallic high foil like liquid metal look. So now I'm just gonna take a small like blender brush. I've got the Larifay E13 here, and I'm just going to buff the edges out just so you can see what I mean, or so we can see what I mean about if that will buff out just a bit more. Now I did end up getting some fallout. A lot of this like micro sparkle kind of like came down onto my eye. So I would definitely say that this is going to be a product that I will put on first before any of my complexion, which I mean, that's probably how I would do it. That's how I usually do anything that has sparkle, like any powder shadow, whether it's, you know, like a lightly pressed shadow like this or not. If it's not a cream shadow, I'm usually putting it on first if it has any type of sparkle to it. So hopefully you can see there how that just like kind of blurred and buffed that shade up into the crease a little bit, and it, you know, it's not as sparkly. There is still some sparkle that kind of runs up, so if you really didn't want any of that in your crease, you definitely want to use like a different shade, but that is really pretty. I'm gonna do the other eye, I'll be right back. All right, I have to say, that was really quick, really easy. I am gonna go ahead and take my finger just into the pot to see how much I can build up if it does look a little bit more foiled on the eye with just a finger. I'm really not team finger. But I want to try it out for all of you. You could probably also use like a silicone applicator for this if you, like me, are not team finger. It's a little bit more intense, but it still is definitely still more of that tiny, tiny like sparkle rather than like molten, which is fine. It's very beautiful. I'm hoping that you're able to like catch that. Let me see. I wonder if I turn the light up, if it's going to be better or worse. I don't know, but there you go. I think you can catch the sparkle just a little bit more when I turn the light up. It definitely is that sort of like I said, old gold meets greeny olive. In fact, right now it's reminding me of one of the shades in the Sorcery palette from Lisa Eldridge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this swatch on my hand, and I pulled out the Lisa Eldridge here. So this is the Sorcery palette, and the shade that I'm talking about is Madrigal. So that's this one here. Sorry, I still have that one out from doing my BYOP last month. So we're gonna swatch these two next to each other. They're not quite the same. I think you can probably tell just from the finger swatch, but oh no, it's like black shoes, right? Like they're different enough. So this is the Victoria Beckham shade in Velvet, and this is Madrigal. So you can definitely see, this is really where you see that Velvet has more of that like goldy, bronzy undertone. I mean, it almost like next to Madrigal, it doesn't even look green, right? You have to almost like take that one away. So they're not dupes, which is good because I bought both of them, right? All right, so let's go ahead and try out that Kajal liner. I'm really excited to try it. I think I'm just gonna end up popping it on the lower lash line. We'll make it a little smoky, a little smudgy, sexy, sparkly. Why not? It's the holiday season. Before we get into that, I do want to mention that these do come, I'm sure you all know this because this isn't a new product, just a new shade, but this does come with one of these tampers, and I would really recommend keeping that on here. It's gonna help keep any of the product that starts to like kick up. It's gonna keep it inside, but it's also gonna keep it from drying out. Since this is a slightly emollient product, they do talk about how it's infused with guava, squalane, things like that. It will eventually dry out a bit and just have a different texture. So you want to make sure to keep that guy on the top. Okay, so for the Satin Kajal, I did pick up the shade Copper, and this one I feel like really is that true copper shade. I'm gonna pop this up just a little bit. There we go. Now you can see it in all its glory. So the thing that I noticed right away about this liner is that it is very, very soft and very smudgeable. So I think that for me, this will definitely be something that I don't put in my waterline just because I have a feeling it's not gonna wear that long. I will actually put it in today just to see, but on the normal, I probably wouldn't, just because I have a feeling that something so soft and so smudgeable is just gonna wear away. But for review's sake, we are gonna do that. And I will definitely let you know down in a pinned comment how all of this makeup wore throughout the night. It's about 3 o'clock now, so I don't have like a crazy long time to be able to give you a wear test, but enough. So I'm just gonna kind of like run this along. It definitely has like a very true like orangey red based copper tone to it. And then there is a little like smudger applicator on the other side. And I'm just gonna like run that along. Okay, so I will say smudging that out took away a good like half of the pigment and a lot of the metallic reflect. So I'm just gonna go back over and like build that up closest to the lash line. And this almost has, honestly, the same vibe that the Lid Luster does, where it's like foily, but it has a darker base to it. Like, I feel like once I smudged it out, it almost looked a little bit more murky, like in a good way, but it definitely had a bit of a different color to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and run some through the waterline here. I will say it is going on really, really well, like perfectly into the waterline, but I just feel like with as smudgy as this is, because I don't feel like it sets. I don't feel like this ever just completely like dries down. Like there are a lot of pencils that are creamy to start with, but they end up setting down completely. I just have a feeling that this isn't gonna be one of those. This is going to stay smudgy. So longevity wise, that's a little like concerning. And also if you have a hooded eye or, you know, something where you feel like your liner smudges, I don't know that this is gonna be one to put on that like top line, but it worked beautifully on the lower line. I really like this color. I think it like brings out my eyes nicely. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side, throw on some mascara, and then we're gonna get into the lips. Okay, I have to say, I really like this look. If I had done it before my foundation, because there was a lot of glitter from this lid luster. I will definitely say, if you have not tried these and you are going to try them, put it on before your foundation, or maybe even using a finger and just like dabbing would help. But if you're using a brush like me, like glitter's gonna get everywhere. And the thing is with this formula being so emollient, you can't just like whisk it away. It's not gonna go because it's like, it sticks. So there's that, but I really like this look. I did go ahead and put on an extra coat of mascara just to like enhance the little smoky eye, but really, I mean, this eye took, what, 3 minutes? It probably took 3 minutes, honestly. Like a minute to like pack on the shadow, a minute to, you know, blend out the crease, and then a minute to put on the liner. And that's pretty much it. So as much as I want to start with Alter Ego, I just have a feeling it's gonna stain my lips and then we won't really be able to see the true tone of Spark. So let's go ahead and throw this one on really quick. So these don't have any scent from what I can tell, which is kind of nice. I actually don't mind a scented lipstick if it's not floral. Like if it doesn't smell like I'm gonna be chewing on a bouquet, I don't mind it at all, but I also don't mind unscented. Oh, this is really pretty. So this definitely has, and by the way, right now my lips are very dry. They're very dry. You know, it's December, it's what happens, which is why I thought this would be a really nice formula to be testing out this time of year, because this is exactly what I want. Something that's got like pretty saturated color, but like not so much that it's like whoa crazy. It is a thinner formula and it just feels nice and hydrating. So again, this is Spark, and I really like this. I'm definitely gonna have to go into the newer shades that I bought from Lisa Eldridge. Not obviously, it's not gonna be like a formula dupe by any means because those are matte, but I'm wondering if I have like a similar color. We'll have to see. I'm definitely gonna pull out some swatches for all of you, but this is great. I think it goes with the eye look really nicely, and it's going to be one of those like whisk on and go kind of shades. But really quick before I do take it off, let's go ahead and look at these comparison swatches. I just pulled out a few that I first thought of. So the one on the bottom is, of course, Victoria Beckham Spark. Now this is Lisa Eldridge Velvet Petal, and then this is Velvet Muse. So you can see here, it's a little bit warmer than Velvet Petal, and obviously like lighter and more pinky than Muse is, like that warmer, more pinky shade. Now this shade here is the Merit Shade Slick in Marrakesh, and it's interesting because you can see like the Posh lipstick is definitely creamy, balmy. I mean, it's not quite a lip gloss and it's not quite a lipstick. It's definitely like that like creamy feel to it. So yes, a very creamy lipstick, I guess is what I would say. Wow. And then actually, let's see if I can get like a hand position that shows it. I think the closest in my collection, like from first glance, is actually the Wayne Goss High Gloss Lip Gloss in Petunia. Like, they're very close. I feel like on the monitor, it isn't looking quite as close as what it is, but they are quite similar, especially if I like sheer out the gloss a little bit more. That was pretty thick. The Victoria Beckham is a little bit more pink and obviously a little bit more like saturated because it is a lipstick as opposed to just a lip gloss, but you know, they're kind of close. But I love this. I think that, you know, this feels really nice on the lips. I have a feeling that the longevity isn't going to be there because, you know, it is so glossy, and this formula for me, I'm going to be very curious to see how Alter Ego is, because sometimes colors like that can like really like right outside the lip line. So we're going to have to see. I'm going to take this off and we'll try that one on. Okay, here we have Alter Ego. I have to say it's definitely more pink than what I felt like it was in the tube. It does lean a little bit more towards what the images were on, you know, Instagram and everything, which is good. That's what I was kind of thinking that this would be. I do feel like I have colors that are similar though, but I will say that this color, I had to do like 3 or 4 swipes to get it built up to this much saturation, which is fine because that means if you don't want to wear it quite so like wham, you can definitely like wear it almost more as a stain. But I did want to show you what this looks like built up. It is a very pretty, flattering, bright pink. It's not so bright that it's like, whoa, who's gonna wear that? I still think that this is like a wearable bright, if that makes sense. And it makes your teeth look nice because it's definitely in more of that like blue tone. This is really pretty. So I'm gonna just take my finger and kind of like blot some of this off. There, you can see it with a little less opacity. Now I will say, with this a little bit lighter on the lip, it does look brighter because you don't have like the depth of all of that product there. And if you are picky about your lip line, you're definitely gonna want to wear a lip liner with this. I do think I have some good options, so I'll go ahead and swatch those out in just a moment. But I do have to say, this is an incredibly comfortable lipstick formula. It feels nourishing, hydrating, like not like overly replenishing, but it definitely feels like this is something I could wear all day and really have no problem with and still feel like my lips at the end of the night feel good. This is very pretty. Let's get some comparison swatches going. Okay, well, two things. I definitely have dupable shades for this one, and I might not have the lip liner that I thought. I think I can make something work, but it's not quite what I thought. Okay, so here we have the Victoria Beckham shade in Alter Ego. Now, this is the Lisa Eldridge Insanely Saturated in Skyscraper Rose. This is the one that I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be very close in color. They are super, super close. But even more close is this shade right here. And this is actually a Clinique lipstick. It's one of the pop lipsticks in Punch Pop. And that is very close. Like Alter Ego is slightly more warm, but they are super, super close. Now, this one here is one of the Urban Decay, one of the Vice lip lacquer, like liquid shiny things. I just wanted to put it on. It's definitely not a dupe at all. And then more for my sake than anyone else, this last swatch here is the ColourPop liquid lipstick in The Rabbit. That's like one of my all-time favorite lipsticks, and they don't make it anymore. And so I was just like, is this close? And it's not. It's definitely a lot cooler, and it has a blue tone flip, which I knew about, but I just thought that maybe the undertones were the same, and they're not. And here we have a couple Lisa Eldridge lip liners. We have Carnival, and then we have Myth. Honestly, I almost feel like a combination of these two would be good. Carnival is gonna be lighter and brighter, and Myth is gonna be darker. So I could see Myth, like if you wanted to deepen up the outside, if you wanted to make a really beautiful dimensional lip, that would be really pretty. Maybe I should do that. Should I just like see what this looks like a little bit deeper? Is that gonna be too much for this like smoky eye? What the hell, why not try it out? Now, the one thing that I will say is I feel like, obviously I sort of like, you know, blotted down this lipstick, but it's definitely, maybe my lips are that dry because it feels like it's like sucked up all of the extra product. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of Myth on. We'll see what that looks like. So that's with a little bit of Myth on the outsides. I actually think that that looks really nice, and that's probably what would make me feel confident in wearing this like all day long. Now I will say, blotted down, it had much more of that like youthful, like just pop it on and go, kind of like chic model-esque kind of feel to it. This is definitely more like major lip vibes. I'm gonna go ahead and put a bit more on just to see what it looks like at full saturation with that lip liner. That's really pretty. I mean, this is a lip that I would probably wear with a bit more understated eye, maybe some crisp eyeliner and lots of mascara. This still goes. Like, I still feel like confident in wearing this together, but it's definitely a lip with a capital L. So thoughts on these? Now I have to say that I was not disappointed in a single product. I am a little bit irritated by all the sparkle all over my face from the lid luster, but I do think that that's still primarily from it, you know, from when I put it on. And I don't really see a lot of creasing. However, I probably will use a primer next time just to ensure that I don't have that. I don't really have oily lids. I have a feeling that this product might crease a bit if you do have oily lids. I don't, so I can't really say, but I just feel like that emollient feel would lend itself towards creasing, especially if you are looking to keep it more sparkly up where the mobile lid kind of shifts. The liner, we're just gonna have to see how that goes. I love the way it feels. I love the way it like blended out on the eye. I'm just hoping that it lasts, and I'm hoping that it doesn't get too smudgy. I did go ahead and put on a mascara that I know that I really like that doesn't smudge on me, so that I can really, you know, kind of keep an eye on that. All right, thoughts on the lips. I need to go do some math real quick, and I kind of want to like zoom out so you can see more of like an all-together final look. I'll be right back. Okay, so about the lips. Now, just about the formulas alone and the colors, really, I'm very happy with this purchase. I think it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be something I can wear at any time, and I'm really happy. I do have to say though, the first thing that I thought of was like, oh, these though, and I knew that they were just gonna be like a nice, creamy, balmy product. They remind me a bit, and I know that I keep talking about like Lisa Eldridge, but when we talk price comparison, right? Because the Posh lipsticks are $38 and Lisa Eldridge are $36. So the thing is, I mean, you can tell right away here that you're gonna get much more product in this than you are in this. And these do remind me a bit of the Luxuriously Lucent formula. They are a bit different. I almost feel, and maybe it's just because I like wiped it off, but I almost feel like these are a bit more slippy than the Posh lipsticks. Like I feel like the Luxuriously Lucent are even like a little bit more thin and a little bit more like slippy. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, you know, they have that very, very creamy feel to them. But here's the thing. So you get 2 grams of product in the Alter Ego for $38, which makes them $19 a gram. Now you actually get 3.5 grams of product in the Lisa Eldridge, which makes it $10.29 a gram. I mean, see, this is why I should probably do the math. I should probably do the math before I go buying things. I mean, especially when we look at the Spark shade. It's beautiful, but I bet that Lisa has something similar and I could have gotten more for less money. I will say they both have beautiful like glam packaging. This is very like sleek. I like the slim feel of it. It is, you know, a nice shape to be able to put on the lip. This though, I mean, there's just something about a magnetic closure. I do really love that. So it depends on, you know, what kind of packaging you like. And obviously, what are the chances that I'm going to use up, truly, in all honesty, what is the chance that I'm gonna use up either of these lipsticks before they go bad? I'm not sure. I mean, with something that's like a really nice, natural, wearable shade, you might actually go through it. So I have to say, even though I really like these lipsticks, I probably wouldn't purchase them again, just because I feel like the formula is something that I can get elsewhere. And that's really just me being honest about knowing that it's like, ugh, for the price, it's pretty, the experience is nice, I'm definitely gonna enjoy having these lipsticks, but I don't feel like they're anything you can't find elsewhere. I mean, I'm definitely gonna use both of these. The formula is great. So if you've been curious and you've been wanting to, I say go for it. If that like creamy feel is what you're looking for, if you've just been curious about the brand, but know that it's not something that you can't find elsewhere. I mean, there are tons of cruelty-free lipsticks that I think are probably gonna have a similar formula for you. So that's my opinion on that. Well, hello there. So I'm hopping on really quick just to give you a bit of a look because I was so impressed by the wear time on that liner last night. It was still on my waterline at like the 6-hour mark when I went to wash my face. So today I'm gonna wear it all day long. I did smudge it on my upper lash line over an eye base I have on the Glam Shop eye base. That's what this little like pink shadow moment is. And I did it on my lower lash line again and my waterline, and I will let you know how it wears all day. So rather than give you a pinned comment on my thoughts on the makeup, how it wore throughout the day, I'm actually just gonna do it at the end of this video. So I'll see you really soon. All right, it is close to the end of the day, definitely late enough in the day to be able to tell how this eyeliner wore. So I would say this has been on for roughly 6-7 hours, and that to me is, you know, a good testament. Like that's, I think, most people's full day as far as like what they would expect their makeup to last. So I have to say, about halfway through the day, I checked my liner and I felt like everything looked pretty good. It's really hard to tell with a coppery liner. Like I was like, is that the liner? Is that my waterline color? Like, what is that? But I do think that it still looked pretty good. I will say now, at, you know, the end of the day, it is like 2/3 gone. It's wearing off nicely. It doesn't look patchy or anything, but it's not as strong as I thought it was at the end of the night last night. Again, that could be, I could have been thinking that maybe it was there when it really wasn't. But I have to say, you know what I'm gonna do? I need to put some fresh liner down to see the difference here, because I do feel like this color, and I mentioned this, you know, when I was applying it the first time, once you blur this out a little bit, it gets darker, like that more like brown base comes out in this. Yeah, okay, so I will say that this to me is not a, what I would consider a long wear liner. And I do believe that Victoria Beckham says that it is. I would say no. It wore off nicely. Like I don't have any, you know, up in my crease at all, but it wore off. I would say it's probably at least half gone on the upper lash line, but the lower lash line does seem to be about what it was. I just have a feeling that like with my mobile lid and everything that it was, you know, probably like shifting around a little bit. I will say I also noticed when I used my eyelash curler, you know, it had been probably, I would say like 5 minutes since I'd put the liner on, and when I went to curl my lashes, I did get transfer from the liner. So I'm not quite as excited. I'm not quite as excited as I was last night. So I just have to say, you know, I believe that these are like $26, $28. I believe it's 26. I have other more long wearing liners than this, and I don't think that this brand has any color that isn't, you know, in another line. Like, I don't see any shade in this range that is like, oh my gosh, you can't get that anywhere else. And I think that, you know, that's not really what Victoria Beckham Beauty is looking for, is like avant-garde colors. It's all like very wearable, usable shades. It's a beautiful shade. I just feel like I have copper liners that probably last just as long from other brands. I have to say, I do miss the original House Labs liner formula. That was probably my favorite. Urban Decay, I mean, we know it and love it for a reason. It really is a good liner. It just goes on creamy, but like dries down, or at least sets down. I don't want to say dries because I don't feel like it's drying. This I feel like is more creamy, like honestly almost to a detriment a little bit, because you can like move with the pencil just because it is so creamy. It kind of like slip slides. So maybe if you have very, very sensitive skin, or you have lots of folds or like loose skin on your eyes, this might be nice because it is that creamy. But I feel like the other brands that I mentioned are also creamy enough that I got a good line, but still could like smudge it out, and then it would like set down and wouldn't go anywhere for a long time. I do have to say though, with the lid luster, I did find that that wore pretty beautifully throughout the day. I will of course be very excited to try that product before I do my complexion, because it had a lot of fallout, and because I had had so much fallout, it was hard to tell at the end of the day, like, was there a lot more fallout? I don't think that there was. I think I just had gotten a lot during the application process. I will say, if you are someone where you find that you tend to like touch your eyes like inadvertently throughout the day, this is not going to be a product for you, because the minute you touch it, you're going to get some of that like sparkle fallout. So not that, you know, touching your eye makeup really ever goes that well, but like this, I have a feeling you definitely start to like kick that sparkle around a little bit. Now the lipsticks, I have to say, that Alter Ego shade stayed on my lips a very, very long time. Like a few hours later, when I happened to like be looking in the mirror, I was like, wow, that lip color is still there. I mean, obviously it's a very bright color. It probably stained my lips quite a bit, but it was still there. So I'm really impressed with that. I do think that the formula, again, compared to like the Luxuriously Lucent from Lisa Eldridge, which I think that, you know, they sort of have a similar vibe, this formula just isn't quite as slip slidey. I don't know why I'm like feeling, it's not like I have it on my lips right now, but it wasn't quite as slip slidey. So I think that that has part to do with why the pigment stays a little bit longer. These lipsticks have just a little bit more of a balmy texture versus that like almost like lip oil texture that I find that the Luxuriously Lucent have, just because they are like a little bit thinner formula in my opinion. So I do really think that they are very nice if it's in your budget, and especially if you're looking for an unscented lipstick, something that is inoffensive, or if you just really don't love fragrance in your lipsticks, I think that you will really like these. Again, do I think it's like a miracle product for the price? No. I just think that like lip products, especially like creamy, sheer, or satin lipsticks, there's just a lot of great formulas out on the market. So I'm glad to have them. I still, while I have really enjoyed them so far, I don't think I will be repurchasing anytime soon, but who knows. Anyway, I just wanted to give you my thoughts after a day and after the wear test last night, so I hope that that's helpful to you. And if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to leave them down below. I hope that this little try on with you was helpful. I hope you enjoyed getting to hang out with me while I tried this beauty brand that has been on my list for a while to try. Now that I've tried it, do I think that I would do another purchase? Yes, probably. I will have to see like what comes out from the brand in the future. Like I said, that bronzer is still on my list just because I hear so many good things about it. And I'm sure that there are plenty of things to come in 2023 that I'll be keeping my eye on. If you have tried this brand and there's anything that you think I should give a go, let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you really soon.